Let's do it.
Welcome to the Russo Report. You know, I have always believed in a strong, free press. I believe that the free press is the foundation of our democracy. We are not always aware of our own biases, but it seems that there is always an underlying narrative that this industry wants you to think or believe what is real without giving you the ability to form your own objective opinions. But is it truth or disinformation or maybe even propaganda? The media has a choice to be objective and what source that they rely on to bring you the story. The truth is no one is immune. We all have biases and opinions. I hope that with the Russo Report, you will be able to form your own opinion from our sources and decide for yourself what is truth and what is fiction. Welcome, and thank you for joining us at the first episode of the Russo Report. Today's report, we have an in-depth interview with Tanner Shoesmith. Now, let me give you a little bit of a backstory of who Tanner Shoesmith is. Tanner was the suspect that unfortunately ended in a tragedy with Mr. Joe Johnson, who unfortunately lost his life a few weeks ago from a mistake the Idaho Falls police made by shooting the wrong person. I tried to go ahead and dive deep into this subject, and I want you, the viewers, to decide for yourself what truly happened. Thank you for joining me. My name is Ryan Russo, and this is the Russo Report. What actually happened with the police on that tragic evening? But before we go ahead, how are you doing after all this incident happened? Maybe if you can tell some of our viewers about how your life has changed, just over this.
Oh man, honestly, before I was just kind of living life, because I'm just a kid. I was just like having fun working, just trying to do what I could to survive. But I didn't really worry about the other people's feelings too much, just because we're all out here and living and shit, and we all have a hard time living. But like ever since this happened, like I've gotten a lot of people telling me that it's my fault. The kids are gonna have to live without their dad now, and just honestly saying a lot of hurtful shit. And it's not even like it was me that shot it wasn't even me that shot the gun. I didn't have any part to do with shooting the gun. Like, I don't know. It's just hard because like they'd act like I'm the one who pulled the trigger and I'm the one who forced him to do this, like to shoot him to act the way that they have, like to, I don't know. They act like I'm the reason why that man got shot, and that I was the reason why he has to make his family do the family life without him now. And it sucked thinking about his kids, because everyone just kept telling me like you're the reason why they're not gonna have a full family, and like it just hurts. It hurts a lot.
No, I've been really studying a lot of what happened, and there's a lot of things that just isn't making sense to me, and so I wanted to really talk to you a little bit about this. Now, in the police report, it stated that the reason why they were pulling you over, or your passenger or the driver over, was because of a tail light. Did you guys have a damage to your vehicle, or?
Honestly, I didn't think so. The car was like an older car, yeah, but I didn't think there was anything like legitimately wrong with it. But come to find out that I guess the car got in a wreck not too long before her, and the trunk wouldn't stay closed, but the trunk was like, it was tied shut. And that's what I got told by the sergeant at the police department, was that they were pulling us over because of the trunk, not the taillight.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, if that car did get in a wreck, then like someone hit them in the back end, then it would mess up the trunk, causing it not to be able to close, and the tail light could possibly have been going out. But I'm pretty like on top of my stuff when it comes to like cars, because I don't like to get into cars that are unsafe. So I normally do a pretty good like check. Like I always check brake lights, headlights, make sure there's no headlights missing. Or not missing, but no headlights that are out. The brake lights, turn signals work. There's both license plates, because I've been pulled over for that before, not having a license plate on the front, but having one on the back. Like I'm a stickler when it comes to like making sure that everything's legit on the car.
When you guys got pulled over, you saw the lights. What was going through your mind at that time?
Honestly, like the first thing that went through my mind was like there was a couple things. The first thing was that I was just getting ready to leave to just like start my life over, and literally the next morning, because I just fucked up a lot, and I don't know, I guess I just didn't want to really deal with it, but just because stuff that happened that didn't really happen how they say it happened, and it's my word against the police officer's word, and they're gonna believe the police officers, and it's like you're fucked at that point. Like you're literally like you don't have a choice no matter what. And so I just didn't want to have to deal with the consequences. Yeah. But there's that, and then the second thing that instantly ran through my head, because she started screaming this at me, was I'm gonna lose my kid. I'm gonna lose my kid. And as soon as she started saying that, I just said, pull over, like on the next road. And she just kept going and kept going and kept going and then kept going. And then finally the cop was on it. Normally when a cop flips around and stuff like that, I don't feel like they speed up like that. But this cop, as soon as he flipped around, he almost hit another car when he flipped around, because he went up on the median to flip around and then started sliding off. And then if the car wouldn't have gone up onto the curb, the car probably would have hit someone. But he's just, as soon as he got out of the traffic and started coming behind us, he was mobbing to get right behind us. Like I didn't have a chance. But she was saying, my kid, and so I was just gonna run, so that I was currently on the most wanted, and me being on the most wanted, that would make her lose her custody battle with her kid, because of what's it called? Not fraternizing, but like having like, what would be the correct word? Like talking or whatever, intervening, or I don't even know, just talking with a what is it, like abating of a felon?
Abating a felon, yep.
Yeah, when like you're helping a felon stay hidden from the police when they're getting searched for him, like it's like the same thing. Like they would have looked so negatively upon that they probably would have just straight made her like revoke her case from her custody battle, and just like she would never have the right to get her kids back.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, if I ran and got away, she could just say she didn't know me, that she just picked me up on the side of the road, and that was that. And they literally wouldn't be able to say anything, but because that's not how it happened. And yeah, there's a lot more that happened than it was intended for.
Somebody said that you had a gun, but just for all the people that are watching, did you have a gun with you at all?
No, that's what's so funny. Okay, so as soon as not funny, but like, it's just crazy how they think a phone looks like a gun. I had an iPhone Plus, so the bigger phone. If you run from the cops, the first thing you're gonna do is call someone for a ride. I don't care who you are. Like, you're gonna call someone for a ride. As soon as I got over the first couple fences, the first thing I did was pulled out my phone and just called my friend. And I was like, I just ran from the cops. Can you please come get me? And then I hung up the phone, and I'm getting ready to dial someone else. And I ran up to the next fence, and I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm like 6'1", so I see over fences pretty easily. And when I ran up to the next fence, my phone's in my hand, like just chilling right here. And like, what ended up happening was like it went like this. Like, let's see if I can pop up.
Yeah.
But like, what ended up happening was I ran up to the fence, and I like put my hands up on the fence, and the fence was right here, and I just had my hand like this, and my phone was right here. And he just looks at me and he's like, he just asked me, oh, I lost it. I locked my phone on accident. But he just asked me, he's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And for some reason, the first thing that came to my head was, oh, yeah, I'm just going out for a run at 12:30 at night through people's backyards. And as soon as I thought about it, I'm like, dumb. So dumb. But it's literally my phone that they thought was a gun, because after everything that happened, we went and sat in the cop car, and I was just so exhausted. I passed out in the cop car, and then when I woke up a couple hours later, it was like 3 or 4, and we're still at the scene, and I literally didn't know what happened. I didn't know anyone got shot. I didn't know someone got killed. I didn't know someone just lost their life. I thought we were there just looking for my gun that I supposedly had. And I just tell the cop, I'm like, I tell the cop, and like I tell the police, the main, like the sergeant or whatever, I tell him, I tell the police that had me in the back of his car, and I tell one of the Bonneville County officers, because when they pulled me out of the car to talk to me for a second, I just told them, I was like, officers, I just want you to know, like, I sincerely did not have a gun. Like, I know we're going to sit here and look for this gun that I supposedly had, whether I tell you this or not. But I just don't want to, I don't want you to feel like I'm wasting your guys' time, because there just truly I never had a gun.
You know, do you remember some of the streets that you ran down? Did you by chance run down like the Hallbrook Street, if you know where that is?
Yeah, Holbrook's like right after Tendor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I used to live on, or not Tendor, but Tendor, because it goes Holbrook, Tendor, then Linden, then I used to live right there. So I was on the far end. I was on Lincoln Avenue, not Lincoln Road. And what I was is I ended up we turned off, and as soon as we turned off, I really didn't make it far. Like, I really didn't. I barely made it off the first block, and when I made it off the first block was when he got shot. Because I was just so exhausted, because I don't know why, but my depth perception was so off. Like, every time I'd go to jump a fence, my hands, because from how cold my hands were, my hands would miss, and I would just barely miss the lip of the fence, and I would slip and hit my chin or my chest, or my hands are really like all just beat to shit.
Yeah.
Just because I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't tell how far away stuff was from me, like grabbing it, and I honestly only made it through like 10 or 15 people's fences.
Gotcha. So yeah, so you definitely.
But I was just on now. So getting back to your question, I was on Syringa, and then I went from Syringa to Holbrook, and then Tendor, because those are the roads coming down. But when you're on that block, it's on the end. So then those blocks are the parallel streets, and I was on or not parallel, but perpendicular. I was on the perpendicular street, and they all branched off of that main road. And so I don't know what the road is all the way down at the end after Lincoln, but it's Lincoln and then something. It might be Holbrook, actually, but I ran all the way down to the end, all the way to Linden. And then when I made it to Linden, I turned around and went up the street, not the same way, but up towards, I went south, I guess, would be a better term. Like, I went south into the neighborhood to go towards John Adams. And then I was so cold at that point that I ran into a dude's garage, and that was when I was on Syringa and Tendor. And that was when not his garage, but his carport or whatever. And I just was looking for anything to just warm my hands up.
Were you just trying to find somewhere to hide, from the police at that time? And
not even necessarily hide so much as just get warm. Because I have I don't know, when my body has a really hard time circulating my blood flow, and so my blood, my hands don't really stay normal. I don't know, my blood just doesn't get circulated normally, so I get colder way easier, and it just makes my hands have a really hard time staying warm, my hands and my feet. And so when they start getting cold, it just gets so miserable that I just that's my main priority, because at that point I wasn't even really worried about hiding from the police as much as I was trying to warm up. Because when that dude opened up that door, he was trying to kill me. And I just walked around the van with my hands up, and he just looked at me, and you could just tell, because I just probably looked like a miserable little kid, because I guarantee you, my face was just I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why he didn't shoot me when I was coming out back into the backyard, because he was like, there's like a double door. It's like the door to the from the like the outside to the carport, and then from the carport to the inside of his house. And I never went inside of his house, never. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go inside of his house. But when I was just like standing there walking towards him, or not standing there, but when I was walking towards him, I had my hands up, and I was just like walking there, like, and I was still so cold that I was just like freezing and shivering. And I think that's the only reason why he didn't shoot me right then and there, was because I just looked like such a miserable little kid, like and I just, as soon as I seen him with a gun, he was shaking almost as bad as I was. I just said, "I'm so sorry, sir. I wasn't trying to steal anything or cause any problems. I'm just so cold. I'm trying to get warm."
So this was Mr. Johnson that you saw then?
Yeah, the one that, because he had his gun pulled on me. He shot at me twice, because when I was walking towards him, he changed his stance, because when I first walked around and seen him, he went from like us like a holding a rifle pose like
Mm-hmm.
this to, and then I looked down because I didn't want him to, like, if he was going to shoot me, I didn't want to be looking at him in the eyes, because I don't know, I just think, like, you think about that, like, what I thought about was, when you like killing, if you killed someone and you had to deal with their eyes looking at you the rest of your life, like, that's what you would remember for a really long time. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like a little kid. Like, I'm not a little kid, but you know what I mean? Like, I still have more than 3/4 of my life to live. And that would just be what hurt me the most, was having to remember that face.
Yeah.
So, like, I just looked down at the ground. And then when I went from looking down at the ground and kept walking to the door. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I looked back up, he went from this, like, the holding a rifle post to like holding a pistol. Because then mine and his shoulders were parallel. Like, he was aligned with my shoulders. And then I just kept walking towards him. And then as soon as I got to the door, like the threshold of the door, and stepped 1 foot out of it, I literally, I don't even know. It happens all so fast. But basically, what happened was, as soon as I stepped my foot outside the door and got half my body around the door frame, he shot at me one time. And the one time he shot at me, that made me just like, that gave me, I had no energy. I was so exhausted. I was laying on the other side of his van, just with my arms above my chest, trying to get my ribs to open up, or my lungs to open up, so I could get some breath, because I felt like I was like suffocating. And yeah, as soon as as soon as she shot once to me, it just refilled my adrenaline, just started pumping again, and it just made me run. Because when I first went into his garage, I sat down, or not the garage, but the carport. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was just like, yeah. But when I first got inside, next to the van, I just sat there next to the door, because I was debating just walking outside and just telling them, like, I'm right here. I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to run. Like, and for some reason, some just told me not to, because they would have. I just feel like they would have shot me, especially after like the whole gun, like hearing about the whole gun thing. The dude thought I had a gun and shit. Like, some just told me not to go just turn myself in. But I sat next to his step. I sat in that carport for probably like 30 minutes, honestly,
Mm-hmm. So
just because I was trying to get warm, and I just sat there for so long. And then I don't know how he found out that I was in there or something. Like, he must have had a lot because his light was on, and I shut it off but it was hurting. Like, it was giving me a migraine from, like, I don't know, just like the strain from my eyes from trying to see in the dark. So I just shut it off, and that was when I just sat at the step, and I just like kind of just sat there like this with both my hands on my head, like my eyes, closing my eyes, and I just sat there and was just trying to like bring myself back to reality, because I was just so scared and just didn't even I honestly didn't even know what to do.
so Mr. Johnson actually shot at you twice? Is that,
Yeah, well, so I know for a fact he shot at me once.
uh-huh.
And then whether the next one was a bang from him slamming the door or what,
Oh, okay.
but I know for a fact he shot at me once, because it's pretty hard to mistake a gunshot, especially when it's in a garage.
Yeah. Was he saying anything to you, like get down, or
It's
did he just
Oh no, he said, okay, so when he first opened the door, he said, "If you're in my garage, get the fuck out." and right then I was just like, oh shit, like I'm fucked, like I'm dead now, and like I just didn't know what to do, and my body was still so exhausted. I almost still didn't even have I still didn't have enough energy to get up, and what ended up happening was he said it one more time. He's like, I'm gonna give you one more chance. If you're in my garage, get the fuck out, or I will kill you. And I was just like, fuck, like. The first thing was I had to pick between the police or him. And what I mean by that is I had to pick out, do I want to get shot by this homeowner or do I want to get shot by I hate the police? And
Oh, well,
I just, when I started walking towards him, he didn't say anything to me the whole time of me walking towards him until I got out the door. And as soon as I got out the door, he shot at me once and then tried chasing me down. And that's why I was saying I don't know if it was a loud, like if it was the first loud or the second loud bang was from him slamming a door, or him. It could have been him slamming into the door to come chase after me, because he was trying to be a hero. He was trying to shoot me,
yeah.
and I feel like that's why the police. But he didn't. I don't know. He definitely underestimated how fast I was, because he didn't think that I would already be over the fence before he even got outside, and yeah, he's just, as soon as he gets outside the door, because so he started yelling a little bit before, but he didn't yell anything. He just started saying, hey. He's like, hey, hey, hey. And then as soon as he gets outside the door, then he starts screaming, he's over here, I found him, I'm gonna get him. And then everyone just starts running towards us, like all the cops, and because you can see like just all the lights, like other flashlights, cop lights, everything, and you can just see them, like all of them just starting to come towards me. And I jumped another fence, and when I jumped that first fence, I didn't even jump the fence. There was like a wheelbarrow or something that allowed me to, because I really couldn't, like, I couldn't even pull myself to like use my muscles to get over the fence. And like I basically walked up the wheelbarrow, whatever it was, pieces of wood, and then like swung my leg over and then just got over and started to run. And then there was one more fence, and then those blocks right there, the smaller blocks, there's only two or three houses on each of the blocks, and then you're already on the other side of the block. Mm-hmm. And I was already on the other block, because when they came and pulled me out of the shed, because I ended up finding a shed to hide in. When they ended up coming and pulling me out of the shed, I didn't know what to do, because I was just laying there, like, and I could hear them screaming at him.
When you were in the shed there, you mentioned that you did hear some commotions and things like that.
No, they were straight screaming at each other. Not at each other, but they were screaming at him and screaming at him down to put his gun down. Mm-hmm. And then that was pretty much, it was like all I heard, really, because then that was when I had officers coming up to me in the shed, and I just hear him like pump back a shotgun. I don't know if it was a shotgun or a beanbag gun or what, but that's the whole reason why I just went to the shed and just laid there and just didn't move, didn't say anything. And yeah, I just waited for him to come arrest me. And when they finally did get me, the cop tells me, he's like, I'm just glad you didn't try to do anything, because I didn't want to have to shoot you. Holy cow, I'm so tired. He's like, I didn't want to have to shoot you or have another incident. And I was just like, I just didn't want to get shot. So I just laid there trying to comply with anything that you guys would tell me to do. And when they first arrested me and put me in handcuffs, they kept telling me to get up and walk. And I was like, I can't. And they're like, oh, you can't walk, but you sure can run from police. And I was like, yeah, before, when I had energy. And I understand that kind of makes me sound like a piece of shit, but I literally can't walk right now. And they just kept asking me why. And I, like, when I got to the cop car and they searched me, they pulled my money out of my pocket and looking for drugs. They always look for drugs, and I've never have any drugs on me. I don't do drugs like that. They think I'm some drug dealer. But they just emptied my pockets. And then when they emptied my pockets, like, 'cause they kept having to hold me up, and after they emptied my pockets and sat me down in the car, I was just like, I'm sorry, I really can't walk. And they're like, why? And I just lifted up my knees, or my pant, like, and the one pant leg had a rip all right here, but I've been out of jail for 2 weeks already. And my legs are still just so swollen and bruised and just straight beat touch shit. Like, And it's not even just that, it's my back, it's every part of my body. It sucks. I've been beaten before, but that one was definitely one of the worst.
Since all this has happened, you know, the town, the media, they have just really ran rampant with, you know, everything going on. Do you want to say anything to the community, or would you want to say anything to the Johnson family or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I understand what I did was wrong. I do. It breaks my heart that we lost, and I don't know. I never met him, and may God rest his soul. But I didn't kill that man. Like, literally, and everyone is saying that I'm the one who killed him, and like, no one understands how much that fucked me up. Like, I was so depressed the first night it happened. I didn't want to be here anymore because of how people could make me feel, and like, I just want people to know, like, don't. It's not like I'm the one who did it, and I'm so sorry that that family has to go without with the wife. That the wife has to go without her husband, and the kids have to go without their dad, because I grew up without a dad. I know how it feels. It sucks. I give you guys my sincerest apologies. If I could have just gone back and just let them arrest me and had all this not happen, trust me, I would. And like, literally, all this, I've always ran on all my charges, which is so irresponsible. I just not wanted to have to deal with it. But like, all this is just really just set me straight. I got a job. I'm like, I don't want to be a hoodlum in society anymore. I just want to do the right thing, because like, we have enough shitty things in the world already, and I don't want to just keep adding to them.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time today, and I know this has been an emotional roller coaster for you, your family, you know, the police officer's family, as well as the Johnson's family. So I really appreciate it. Is there anything that I might have missed, or anything else, you know, that? Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. I'm sorry if I put you in a bad mood.
I do it on purpose.
I know you didn't, man. And I'm sorry if I put you in a bad mood. I wasn't trying to.
No, you're good. You're good. I wanted to get it out because I knew I should talk to someone, because everyone is literally just, I'm getting so much hate mail saying that I'm the piece of shit. And like, instead of just telling each and every single one of them, like, it wasn't me, like, I'm not the one who pulled the trigger, but like, it should be easier to do this.
Yeah.
And I guarantee I'm going to have a lot more interviews that people are going to want to do, but I'm not the one who killed that man. The IFPD should have just done their job and identified and then assess the situation. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try as well next week to actually sit down with IFPD, and we can't discuss the case, but I want to discuss with them some training, what's going on, what are the police officers.
Some training? Does IFPD even have any training?